Good evening and welcome to what we call the Great Debate right here. Of course, it's all about the Great Debate, what's happening in St. Martin, and of course, we are here to bring you on the journey of what we call the road to the parliamentary elections 2024. All right, of course, as every Sunday we get closer, we're going to bring you candidates, we're going to bring you politicians that's been there for donkey years, and we're going to bring you politicians that are here for the first time. I'm trying to get you to vote for them. Of course, we changed the setting this time around because we decided to, do it a little bit different. We had a little break after Carnival and so on, but we're back now and we will try to bring a program to you each and every Sunday. I am joined, honored, and I feel special because at least only one political party canceled on me today. But three other political parties decided to come, and I'm happy. I'm content. First, let me mention, as I always do in the beginning of the program, that the political party now, they said they was going to send a candidate, and then they canceled at the last minute, just the day before the taping. So it's unfortunate that the now couldn't send anybody, but at least the other parties did send their candidates. We are joined by three political parties today. Like I mentioned, we have the National Alliance, we have the United People's Party, and we have the URSM. Let me start off with on the right side here, on my side, and that is, introduce yourself, sir.
Yes, thank you, Andrew, for the opportunity to represent my party, National Alliance, here on your program. I am Louis Bertol, for those who don't know who I am, and I'm basically a young man with a vision and the ability to bring a better change in the lives of the people of St. Martin. I'm educated, I'm very innovative, and I boast 3.5 years of government experience. Thank you for having me.
All right, you had a whole opening ready for me, boy. I just wanted your name and the party. That's it, but that's good. Let's go to the United People's Party.
Okay, I'm Idilian Heerenveen, known as Miss Edie, or a lot of people call me Edie. I currently represent the United People's Party, and as you know, I am just happy to be here. Thank you for your invitation, and yes, I'm ready to discuss.
Ready to discuss, yes. And of course, last but not least, I should say the deputy leader of the URSM. Hello, got a big dogs in the house. Also a former minister, but first time candidate.
Yes.
And that is, introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening to my fellow panelists who are here this evening. And thank you once again, Mr. Andrew Dick, for inviting me and allowing our party also to be part of the furniture here, because we seem to be the thing that always show up. But my name is Christopher Wafer. Yes, first-time candidate, and I'm honored to be here today.
Thank you. Of course, let's jump in straight into what's happening on St. Martin. Of course, the fact that the elections is coming up. Just a couple of months from now. First, it was a year. Now it's just a couple of months. Postulation is going to be right around the corner. Of course, individuals are, aligning themselves with political parties so that they can vie for the 15 or 17 seats. We don't, but at least for now, we'll say 15. Louis, you had your candidate launch just a couple of days ago. Give us a brief synopsis of the reason why you decided to go into politics. And yes, I know of the last time that you did try the first time, 3.5 years ago, but due to some issues, registration. But now, that's why.
Well, you could say I've been waiting 3.5 years to run.
Yeah.
However, my wanting to run, so that yearning to assume political office really started. It really began at a young age. My mom worked at the Daily Herald, and as a parent who worked at the Daily Herald, you're gonna bring home the newspaper for your kids to read. And that's what I grew up with, reading the Daily Herald, reading the the political developments or the developments of the country on the front pages. So I went away, studied government administration, and came back, and I had a full circle moment when I began writing articles that then were placed on the front pages of the newspaper. But I always had the passion to help persons and also to make a change through policies. So that's where my yearning comes from, to postulate myself on a party.
Why National Alliance?
Why National Alliance? National Alliance aligns with my personal morals and values.
And which is?
It's the party that I grew up with, and I believe that National Alliance is a party that helps the people through different ways. Of course, we've had different ministers over the years that carry different portfolios on the National Alliance, and through the projects that they've accomplished, I do see a brighter future for St. Martin with this party.
Okay. Yes, this is a different type of program. I just ask questions in between, just so that it's not, too long. All right, now let's go to Edie. Tell me, please, why? Why put yourself in this? Why?
I know why you say it like that. Well, as being a mother here in St. Martin, having my children here, having my group of friends, I realized that the direction that we were going is not the direction I desire for my children to be raised in. So I'm a hands-on person, and I like to help. I don't have to show off that I'm helping, but I've been helping a lot behind the scene. And I thought, this is the right moment for new ideas, younger generation to come up and make the changes. We are a generation that understand better that is going up, because what is going on right now, not to disrespect any other generation, but the older generation, a lot of them are still stuck in the older ways and manners, and they don't understand the younger generation coming up and the future that they see for themselves. So I thought, no, right now is the time to change, to be part of a change. Don't sit in the back and only help in the back and get frustrated. But now's the opportunity to come to the forefront and try to make a change with others that have the same intention to see St. Martin grow and become better than it is right now.
But you see what happens to new candidates. You see what happens in
I'm
politics.
going
You
through
see
it
how
right
nasty
now. I'm going through it
can
right
be.
now.
Why put yourself in it?
Because I'm a strong woman. I'm built strong. So I don't let things influence me or scare me off. I have an idea, I have a vision, and I'm a person I can take criticism. So if I'll be able to sit with you and you tell me, Edie, this is not working. I'm able to listen to you and see how we can fix. I'm not a revengeful person. I don't think it's my way or the highway. I'm open because I believe it takes a village to raise children. It takes a village to steer a country. It takes more than only me. So I need to fight everybody that try to fight me or feels that I'm a threat because I'm young, I'm outspoken. I can help it. I have a mouth, and I feel that if I believe something, righteousness, I respectfully bring it forward, but give me the respect back. So I decided that no matter what I'm going through, I'm still going to stay positive because I have positive people around me, and I'm going for it. And I'm willing to join and work with anybody who has the same intention, which is to better it all. And it doesn't matter which team you are on, I'm willing to go with you and strive for the ultimate goal, which is a better place.
Why the up?
I chose the up because I did have interviews with other party, and I'm not going to lie, that's the party that made me feel included. In the sense that it was not, this is our idea, this is what you have to do, this is the direction we're going. No, they really included me in, let's make a decision together, let's see where we're going to go. Oh, your idea is good, this idea is good, let's put it all together. So we came, literally, I felt, the word inclusion was, and like I told Bryson, that is why I joined you, because I really felt like you were listening and you were open to other opinions that weren't just like, my opinion is count, this is how I want to see it, this is where I go. No, he said he listened, he take advice, he listens to other, and once you give me the feeling like, hey, you matter, you count, I know that's the team I want to be on.
Mr. Weaver, besides getting the taste of being a minister, why join a political party?
Well, before I answer that question, I would just like to also make note that we did not sit with you. So
Yeah, no,
that's
I'm
one.
not saying that.
That is
Different.
no, for sure. But just to also make it clear that, we are also a party of inclusion, definitely. Um, why did I choose to run now is because, having sat in office for some maybe a short time, 7 months, but what I've accomplished in 7 months, some sitting in the chair today have not even accomplished yet. Um, but besides that, when I left office, I had to make a choice. And the choice was either, go with an established party, get a few hundred votes, and then maybe secure your way in, or really start something from based on your own beliefs and how you would like to see it done. Having been there for 7 months, I've worked, I think, with all the established parties at the time, because when I came in, it was under the UD Christian Party coalition. And then when that broke apart, then I was then also asked to stay with the National Alliance and the USP
US,
party.
yeah.
Yes. So in that short time, I was able to work with a lot of different parties and different mindsets as well. So based on that, I was like, okay, do I want to go that direction, or do we really want a real change for the country, and then see where we're going to establish and do things based on what we saw or what I saw that didn't really fit with me at the time, and make it fit in the sense that this is where we feel comfortable with, and this is where I feel comfortable with. So that's kind of how that journey started, and then I sat down with Dr. Messalina, and then the two paths met and the visions met, and based on that, we said, okay, let's continue this direction. And since then, it's been going, and we've really been out there now. And I think after having seen the attendance we've had at the Congress, I think also the people are looking for that change out there.
Very good. So now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, let me ask, the role of a parliamentarian is legislation. And most of the time, we kind of get confused as to the roles, what type of campaign people are running. Especially, I'm sure when you go to people and they say, okay, well, what can you do for me? Because my house, my roof, my road, and then you have to explain them. It's a parliamentary elections, so you have to, break it down. And I'm sure you've been going. So what do you tell somebody who is just don't want to vote anymore because they don't believe in the system anymore, especially after the number of snap elections we had? Yes, we had a unquote stable government for the past 3.5 years. However, some would say they don't see any change. I'm sure, Louis, what do you tell somebody who might have an issue with that and said, you know what, I ain't voting, I don't believe in voting anymore? What would you bring to the table that would change their mind?
Yeah. So for those persons who deciding or are deciding not to vote this upcoming election season, I always encourage them that they should vote. Their participation in our electoral system matters, and they have to remember that every decision that is taken from government affects all of us. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect your future kids. It's going to affect the kids you have now. It's going to affect those that came before you as well that are still here. So when you choose not to vote, it's actually a disservice to the country. Not only that, all of the votes that are not casted are still counted. They still
counted,
go
yes.
towards, they still make, so you're actually making a decision when you don't vote as well. So that's what I would tell them.
Legislation-wise, what would you bring to the table?
In terms of legislation, Andrew, I'm looking at 3 areas of focus, and those are the diversification of the economy, the increased access to education programs, and also the enhancement of our youth's personal and professional development. So these are my 3 areas of focus that I believe that should, the people place their confidence in me. This is what I would focus on. I do believe that there are several ways in which we can attain these 3 areas of focus, and I will outline them during the program. But I do believe that working in government, I see the need for Parliament and government to work hand in hand as well, because Parliament has their legislative role, government has their executive role, but when things happen together, such as, let's say, the plastic ban, there's a cooperation between Parliament and government. If we could have more of that, we're on the road to a brighter future.
Yeah, but the execution of the plastic ban, that is the issue actually, because they worked hand in hand and it's just not being executed.
There's several other issues. There are several other issues to that in terms of who's going to actually do the controlling.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
so-
I guess maybe they didn't look that far ahead prior
They're
to.
looking at, because from the talks I've heard, they're already looking and talking on how they're going to execute the controls of the ban, which includes the Ministry of Theatre's controllers.
Okay, it is same thing. Distinct voters.
My concentration would be more on the immigration system we have right now. We have a lot of stateless children and stateless people here. The immigration is not, we're still using laws that from let's say the 1700s,
Yes.
like the 60s, that are never been looked at, changed, adapted to the new situation. So immigration is one of the priorities right now. Also the health system, but right now I have to admit, Otley is doing a good job in trying to make it more accessible and fixing the little mistakes and things that are going wrong right now in a health area. So I do have to admire that, and that was also something that we have to then continue. And my third is the education system, the education and also sport. We are forgetting that we have a lot of talented youth here on St. Martin, and our education system is not up to par as it's supposed to be at the moment. So the infusing of them two also together is very important to me. So those are the three things that are my core.
And what do you say to people who say no, they don't want to, they're still not going to vote because
Like he said,
It would be a waste.
I always explain, listen, when you think your vote is wasted, it's not. It's at maybe it goes to the party maybe that you don't want to. When you think your vote, that because you vote, it doesn't count, it does. So it's kind of like it's better for you to vote than not to vote. And I also talk to them a lot. I said, I explain what I stand for, what is my vision, what I want to do, and I sit and I really have a conversation explaining to, you know what, why is the reason you don't believe in us anymore? What is it that we can change? This is what I come to the table with. If you don't want to vote for the party or don't want to vote for me, believe in me. Because at the end, our parliament system, you vote, it's individual counted. If your party makes it the individual count that counts.
Yeah.
So I try to convince them what I stand for, then aligned with my party. And then most often, you have some that say, no, you know what, I'm still not going to vote. But you keep them in the loop. You keep them of what you're doing. That's what I do. And I have others that say, you know what, Edie, I believe in you. I believe in what you say, and I see the passion. Well, you convinced me, I'm going to vote for you. So that's how I handle it.
And then what do you say to the voter that has like a negative image of your party based on, of course, the different controversies that took place within your party?
I agree. I get a lot of that question, and I always ask why. Do you know exactly what happened? What is the issue? A lot of people, sadly to say, can't explain why. It is the hype of the media or something. We got arrested, but they never can tell you and give you a decent reason why it is they don't like the person, of why it is the party, or of it is something that the party didn't do, or a law that came change. They never can explain to you the reason why and they do it. So when I get a person that tells me I don't like that party, I always ask them why, and then we go into discussion like, are you sure this is this is that, but do you know this? I can bring a law or something that they already did, and then they get a different vision of, hey, hold on, but I thought it was that because when I read the newspaper it said this, but I don't know. So it takes time out of you, but you need to explain, you need to get the time to explain and sit with everybody that asks or has a question or it doesn't agree with you in certain thing. Have the conversation and explain why. You can see how many people you change their minds.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes, and you get it a lot. Because even if you look at the statistics of it, if you look at the amount of persons who did not vote last election, it can be like 8 to 9 seats there by itself.
Yes.
So that could have
Correct.
swung the whole elections.
Yeah.
So just by making them aware of it as well,
Yeah.
to say like, if you look at the stats, you know, your vote does matter, and you can make a change, because if all of those came together,
Yes.
who knows, maybe we'd still have the same coalition now, but maybe it would have been a little different. You know, so you enlighten them, inform them, educate
Yes.
the public as to what it is a vote, also educating the persons as to we're not voting for ministers, we're voting for parliamentarians. I think that is very key, because even last week I did a presentation at the school about government, how it works, the different sectors of government. And when I ask as well, okay, what is election? Who do we vote for? A lot of them say, no, prime minister or a minister, or the governor. So it starts from young as well, to inform them as to what exactly is election, what's the purpose of election, and also, what will you do for them as well once elected. I think a lot of persons are tired because of old-time politics, and also the promises on election day, and then what happens after election day. They can't get you on the phone anymore, they can't reach you. I think that is one of the main concerns people have when they go in the neighborhoods. It's like, okay, we don't want the old-time politics. We want a new, fresh air of persons that actually do what they say, and based on that.
You don't think people get more of a dependent on politicians or government per se, instead of government creating the way, instead of them just being there for a handout or just making the government responsible for their well-being?
Yeah, but I think a lot of, let me say, politicians, not all of them, have made it that way for their benefit as well.
Okay.
Because they benefit from persons being in poverty and looking for that handout to then on election day secure a vote or two. We need to move away from that. We need to secure persons that they are in a state where they don't have to depend on government, and that way you would eliminate a lot of the vote buying and stuff like that, because people are then not so much in need. And even though you would have a handful, but it will only be a handful. It won't be enough to change or swing an election.
Interesting topic, the great debate. We're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking to the three political parties that we have here. We have the National Alliance, United People's Party, and of course, the URSM. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Helping us, the majority fooling us with tinted windows on Audis and Jeep. Them politicians ain't driving nothing cheap. Just look around, read between the lines. Every one of them is a waste of time. The PM highlight her sexual preference, telling everyone she's a lesbian. The country locked down in a disarray. Big birthday party down in Digo Bay. All who attended tested positive. Every one of them end up with COVID. One tried to clear his name in a rush, saying how we catch it down by Lotus. Everyone in shock when they get to see that Bishon was part of LGBT. Man, they spoiling the country name. It's time we start all a spade a spade. Let them invite in their blasted shade. It's time we start all a spade a spade. What you say? Too bad. Good gosh. Guys, Zilande, Zilande, Zilande. Rolando feature video was no shock when he started to match Grisha up. They who recruit him to the up party when he jumped from the USB. They make him leader saying how he bright. He's shining in the sky like a satellite. He had to resign as parliament chair when Theo decided he don't want him there. With more deception they appointed Risha as parliament chair and the new leader. Rolando punishment was to go parliament. Sit and wash your mouth, don't make no comment. After after all the videos done by the nightclub, they realize he's an embarrassment.
Hello, Sid Martin.
Julian Roloff Jr. of the URSM. Of the URSM is celebrating Curaçao Day on the 1st of July. Celebração Dia de Bandeira de Curaçao na Banco Patroquipan, Riba Ponfer. Ambiente trancasali for de 5 de 10 horas de noite. Só piala on the house. O pan será estilo Curaçao. Bota recibido com leite também. Automaticamente, fiesta na de Curaçao de zona. Julian Roloff Jr., the kid of the solution, David Abu.
Hello, Sid Martin.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport.
All right, and we are back with the great debate right here. And of course, we continue our discussion with the three political parties that decided to show up. Now, of course, with the elections coming up, it's important for people to be informed. And passion of the new candidates is important because we get to hold them to it if they do get elected, or at least their parties. If you could give us a little bit more insight into your three areas of focus, yes.
Thank you. So I like that you said that, some of us, a lot of us has a passion for what we're doing. And my passion is really personal and professional development. It's something that I've taken really, that has been really important to me in my upbringing and during my journey in life. And I believe that this is one of the areas that other youths of St. Martin can also, take advantage of. And that's the enhancement of their personal professional education, their personal professional development. But how do we do that? And I think the two ways we could do that is through capacity building in our government. We are, at times, we have needs, right, on the island, and sometimes it requires the attention of an expert. And not at all times do we have that expert readily on the island, so we have to bring them out from abroad. So we have to strengthen our civil servants core, and that's where we begin to build capacity within government so that we could be self-sustainable moving on. We don't need experts to come here, work for a while, and then leave. We need to build our own. So
Yeah, but we have money issues, though.
yeah, and we were going to work on that.
Oh.
I'll touch on that in my second area of focus. I also believe that this government has been doing a very good job in pushing entrepreneurship. We have the Enterprise Support Project at NRPB, and it just needs more support, more push, and we need more people to, take the leap of faith and step into their dreams. If you like to bake, you're a baker, you have a lot of clients from home. Why not take that next step and open a shop? And the money is there in order for you to just apply once you meet the requirements. And once you get the loan, you only have to pay back 40%. 60% is a grant, right? I think it's really important that we empower people to step into their dreams and not leave them in debt. So I think that's a really good way to enhance our youths in their professional development. My second area of focus, of course, is the diversification of our economy, which has been tourism for many years. How do we diversify it? At the present moment, the government is working on the development of an agriculture policy, which I believe will need support from the parliamentary level. What this does is that once we delve into the agricultural sector, we're gonna have a need to create jobs. This is gonna help job creation. Is gonna help that sector boom, flourish, blossom, and more persons will be able to get employment and have an income, thereby reducing poverty.
But how do you get them persons interested in agriculture? Because that's another thing. Is diversification is we can talk about so many other sectors, but how do you get them interested? Because
that's another step. So a lot of research is still needed to be done in my view. Some research still needs to be done because even though you say you're going to do agriculture, what kind of agriculture are we going to do? Is it going to be hydroponics? Is it going to be farming? Is it going to be different? So we have to look into those things, but we have to start somewhere, and that's with support of the development of this policy in order for St. Martin to diversify and have another sector.
what about strengthening what we have already?
Strengthening what we have.
As far as agriculture, why not
Yes, definitely.
focus on what we have already? Because we do have some main people that have been doing agriculture over the years. Your Bushman, your Denise your Wyatt, you have different persons that have been doing it consistently. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
We don't, but support for them is of utmost importance, but also the development of that policy, because we need things on paper as well, and not just we're going to support, we're going to subsidize.
Okay.
Right? And then the third area of focus is the increase of access to educational programs. And what do I mean by that? I mean, on St. Martin, we don't have too much special education programs or schools. We have the Prince William Alexander School, which was damaged by the hurricane. And we also have a special ed school that closed down, I believe, last year or earlier this year. And I'm not saying that we're not having it in our view, but it should be made priority, or it should be added on to our priorities. We need also institutions for special education. You have adults and kids who are disadvantaged in different ways, and access to those institutions, those medical institutions. So I'm talking about speech therapy for persons who were born and their speech is not fully developed at the age that it should already be developed, if you look at others. And I'm also talking about different other institutions for disabled people. If we don't have institutions on St. Martin or that much, I believe that MOUs can be forged or signed together with other institutions abroad or in the region, at least, in order to increase access to the resources that our people need. Also, I believe that we have to increase our access to scholarship programs. And we have, for instance, on the school, in St. Martin, a school, Charlotte Brookson Academy. Many students graduate from there, but a lot of the students that graduate from there are more focused in the creative arts, or we have sports. So more and a variety of access to those educational programs and scholarships will really help us to better the lives of the people and also further educations in different areas. So those are my three areas of focus that I believe, once elected, that I'll focus on those, because in Parliament we have committees, because some people are like, okay, so how are you going to help us with that? But I can go on a committee in Parliament and work on different things pertaining to those committees, and those committees mirror the portfolios of the ministers, and that's how we work hand in hand.
Well, they're supposed to. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Louis. Let me go into same thing. Your passions. I know that earlier this week there was an issue where, of course, in drag racing, that there was no quorum for the Justice Committee. But at the same time, you did let people know exactly how you felt about it. That's one of your passions, of course. But feel free to just give us a...
Okay, I don't have to go too much in details of what happened.
No, because you already gave
But to me, it was, I felt more disrespect towards a part of our community. We have a lack in... We are not investing in our youth when it comes to sports and education, and that's why I agree with him. There are many opportunities in sport, in different areas of sports outside of St. Martin for our youth that are related to education. We have seen an uprise in people that do, in boys, girls, man and woman, that are doing the sport of motocross or in motorbiking, etc. There's been years after years, every election it came up. I've been busy with this before I even decided to go run for politics because of my son and his friends that do this. And every day I'm worried if they coming home intact and stuff, helmet, I'm screaming, no, boys, da da da. So I decided, let's start, and I joined a team to start working on it. So when we finally got the opportunity to go, we felt disrespected. I wanted to be clear that we had to go to Parliament. The reason why we already approached the ministers that we needed to get an event done, and while we went to Parliament, we didn't go for an event. So I do have to say, and I have to show appreciation for the Minister of Justice, the Minister of Romy, and even the Minister of Finance, that when Rolando and ourselves approached them and tell them, listen, this accidents happen, what can we do? We need an event. They reacted and they tried to help. So they are doing their part. We came to the Parliament to bring proposals that are needed, especially when it comes to insurance of these bikes, when it comes to the laws that need to be changed, designated areas, land. At no moment are we asking for money from the government. So the disrespect of not letting us inform you what it is that we need, but assuming that we come and beg for money, is unacceptable coming from the Parliament floor. You should have at least listened and then bring your opinion. You know, and that's why I feel like right now, they don't care about any passion of our youth. You can see that in our education. Our level is very low right now compared to other areas, even in the district, in the Caribbean. The level of education that we're given right now, there is not enough, like he said, special schools. We are not bringing programs, after school programs, enough that has dedicated to sport, like we have in the United States, that can develop a child. We have right now a lot of stateless children, which means these children, pretty much, even right now, if by law in the world, every child, even if you're illegal or legal, you're supposed to go to school, still we have that barrier that prohibits them from entering the school. They're illegal. Oh, you don't have your registration, we can't accept you. But by law, you're supposed to accept a child even exactly. Right. So we have a lot of uneducated children running around, mothers scared to fight for their rights because they're scared that they're getting deported. So these are my passion is when it comes to that. That's why I mentioned immigration and education and sport, because right now in St. Martin it's all together. Yes. Our immigration system about children that are born here, adults that are born here that have been illegal, they didn't choose to be born here, but there's not making exception to the rule to give them at least a permanent residency where they can stay and develop themselves, get a good education, go outside and further. They all get stuck here in St. Martin. And then we want to cry about criminality going up. They can't get a job. They don't have papers. They can exit the country. So what? They end up in jail. Do we have a rehabilitation program? No, we don't. So all these are intertwined, and what we're doing, we're going to see a staggering going high in criminality, where we're going to blame the boys, we're going to blame the woman. You can do this, you should have done, you should find a job. But did we change the law? Did we change the system to help them, to assist them? They don't have papers, they can go nowhere. So these are the little things that I'm passionate about, because it affects me, it affects you in the community, because our children are going to be raised with all the, we can say, the stateless children. Yeah. It has an influence on the education, it has an influence on the neighborhood, it has an influence on your country. So you need to, in Dutch we say, pocket aan from the bottom, Yeah. It's going to be hard, but we need to start, because we are getting more and more, the rate of stateless people in St. Martin is getting higher and higher and higher. And we forget our taxes at the end, it's raising them, it's going to them when they're getting sick, when they're not porting to the schatkist, all that. It has a big influence.
And it starts with laws.
It starts with laws.
Chris.
No. No, a lot has been said, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
Education.
passion.
No,
Your
of
passion,
course,
yes.
of course, education is definitely a passion. The health, but it all interlocks. Huh? Everything interlocks together, from poverty to health to everything. So we have to be very cautious as well as to how we approach one area because it will affect another one. There are a lot of laws in place already that we can just use, and as Mr. Tal said, it's just the follow-up and making sure that these are regulated and people are there to inspect it and make sure that it's being handled.
One thing I noticed with your party is that you have committees that handle the different
Yes.
areas.
Yes, so
yeah.
yeah, so what we did is we did a different approach in a sense that we said, okay, these are certain areas that are critical, so we have a health committee, education committee, a neighborhood committee, to name a few. But what we do is we have them filled with experts in their field, and then rather than us inventing the wheel, we go to the people to say, okay, you're the expert, you live it every day. Tell us how you would change it and how based on that, and then educate us as well as to the directions that we see that this country needs to go. We've said it as well. I mean, one of the big areas that we're dealing with is the healthcare. The poverty issues, where people now have to decide, do I buy a loaf of bread to feed my family, or do I get the medication needed, for my diabetes, so to say, not to lose a leg, to amputate a leg. So, but these are the decisions that people face every day. When we look at the hospital, everything starts with a vision, and it's quick to say when things go good, that we say we're doing a good job. But when it goes bad, we're quick to say it's whoever started it before, But either way, you have to look at it, and you really have to go from there. I mean, what I understood recently as well is that we are designing the new hospital based on the European specs, rather than American specs. And we've seen how this has transpired before, if we look at Belvedere Housing, because that was also built based on the European specs. So if a toilet goes bad, or the plumbing, the piping, you can't just go to Ace or Koiman to just get it. So the same thing, imagine now with the top of the line hospital that we're looking at, and something goes bad. You can't just get it here locally. You have to special order these things. It's going to cost time, money. So these are things we need to look at. And also, when I say with vision, I mean, when we look at education, and if we're looking at scholarships, we're looking at, if we know we're going to build a hospital, and we need to know what kind of hospital we're building as well, what kind of specialties do we need in a hospital to serve the people of St. Martin, then interline it with the scholarship program, so that way, when our people go out, and by the time they finish their education, seeing that this hospital is going to take about 10, 15 years from when it started, they can then be back, and then we can fill it with our own persons, coming back to St. Martin to then, because I know a lot of persons as well that studied here, but are now in Europe or in America, and they are now doctors, lawyers, and it's all these things that we have the talent on St. Martin, but we need to be able to tap into this and make it something for them to want to come back. Make a nice incentive, the same way how we do to those persons working from NRPB, the World Bank, that are abroad and coming back here, getting tax-free payments for a certain year. The same thing we can now do for our people as well to contribute back home.
Interesting. All right. Let's take a last commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with our guests that we have of the National Alliance, the URSM, and of course, the United People's Party. We'll be right back.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport.
So, season 2 is coming out tonight. Why are we watching the TV show?
You the mom want to activate Tell TV Plus for a whole month just for one night.
You know, Tell 'em has a new app with one-day access to Tell TV Plus, right? The My Tell 'em app.
You lie.
Where you think you going?
Well, I need to activate my data plan to watch the show on Tell TV Plus tonight.
You know Tell 'em has an app with all those features, right? The My Tell 'em app?
You lie. Does everybody know this but me?
All right, welcome back to the Great Debate, of course, in our last segment. And of course, thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful Sunday. All right, final words from our guest panel. I must say they was on their best behavior today. One of the best shows I had since I started because everybody was respectful and didn't interrupt anybody. So I must commend our guests that we have here today. It was nice. But of course, it is an election and we want to know the difference between the parties, and I guess I don't want to make it old parties versus new parties, but at the end of the day, it's the different political ideologies, different political parties that are contesting. Let's not kid ourselves, not all parties are, going into this election as one. They're going as different groups. So, is there a difference in the National Alliance, Mr. Heltold? What makes the National Alliance different from the other political parties? And, are you different from the political parties, or are you as is the other political parties the same as the National Alliance? Yeah, you can put that in that would be your closing remark. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I like that you said that we're not going into elections as one. However, the National Alliance is a party made up of 23 individuals that move as one. So we are one. And I believe that persons can place their confidence in me because I believe that I'm able to carry out the function in order to, bring this country to the next level. I believe that it takes coming together, working together, like Ms. Edeline said earlier, to move us forward. And I just want to continue what we've began 3.5 years ago. And shall they place their confidence in me, I won't disappoint.
And of course, you mean that 3.5 years ago, you want to do it now alone and not with the United People's Party. Because it is a coalition, let's not forget. Yeah.
The people will decide.
The people,
the people of St. Martin, the country, the citizens, they're going to decide.
Mm-hmm. Final words.
Thank you for having me. I encourage everyone to follow their dreams, stay positive, and always look to the future.
Thank you. Yeah. United People's Party. Is it different from the National Alliance or the NOW or the URSM? What makes you guys so special? And of course, your final words.
It's not about what makes us so special. It's about the attention you have towards the country. And like I say, a lot of people that decide to go into politics is because they want to see a better future for the country that they love so much. So I wouldn't say what makes us different. I would say we are a party that is striving for change and better for the future. And together, let's say the country will decide at the end. We are willing to work with everybody who has the same passion of seeing St. Martin being fruitful and going forward. So we are a party that right now we are thinking about the people, we are thinking about our children, we are thinking about the older generation, we are thinking about what are the things, the changes that we can do to be better. Because at the end of the day, we are all humans and we all have to work together. We cannot do it by ourselves. If you have in mind that, we can do it by ourselves, it doesn't happen. We need each other to make it better. So my last word would be, like I said, I am a woman of passion. I am a woman of my word. I know what I want and I strive for what I see and the vision that I have. I definitely say, if you believe in me, if you put your vote in me, you won't get disappointed. I am a people person. I'm accessible, like you mentioned before. Accessibility after you vote is important. I'm always accessible. I don't feel better than anybody else. I'm open for everybody. I listen to everybody. And I say, vote, when you vote for me, believe me, you won't get disappointed. I am a mother. I am a single mother. I am a woman. I'm a hardworking person. And I know the struggles that we as a community go through right now.
Thank you. The new party, the URSM.
Yes.
Versus, the old political parties that have been there. So, what makes your party better than the others?
Well, I'm not to say better. I mean, everybody has their own opinions and way of looking at it.
I was trying to trap you. You're catching me. Okay.
It depends what angle you're looking at. But what we do is try to make it different and to show persons that what we say is what we mean, and we show it by the actions. I mean, you've mentioned it earlier as well, that we have different committees in place. From the onset, we believe that the foundation has to be strong. And for the foundation of the party to be strong, we need to educate not only those around us, but it starts with the candidates itself. So we have also started doing candidate trainings. So we had the ombudsman, we had the high council, different high councils of state come and do workshops for us and teach us exactly what it is, how Parliament works, and the Constitution. So we really looking to educate our candidates as well, so that they can properly educate the voting community out there. So I think that is a different aspect that we're trying to do. Yeah, I mean, because what people are tired of is seeing politicians out there fighting one another, but then at the same time putting a nice picture ops together as if they are one. But we can see that we need to create camaraderie amongst our candidates as well, and to really show that we care about the people, and we are not just there for election time, but we are there from election time, but also beyond. And I think my track record myself has proven that. And having been in office for a short period of time, it has spoken for itself. And I think that is kind of what we intend to bring to the people as well. I mean, from our first candidate to our last candidate on the list, we are all well educated and we know what's going on in the community and we know what needs to change.
Why Chris Weaver?
Because Weaver works.
Yes, and he started very early. All right. That does it for our program, The Great Debate, for this Sunday. Of course, join us again next week, Sunday, for another interesting program as we continue to bring the different political parties in here. Again, it's for you to decide, St. Martin, and it's for you to also decipher as much information as possible from the different political parties, because, they're all going to come and give you as much information as possible. But hey, information overflow is a real thing, and we want to make sure that we at least give you different topics so that you know where the parties stand on the different topics, and also see the difference in the candidates and the political ideologies of the political parties. So I'm Andrew Dick. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to join us for late night during the week. And hey, this has been The Great Debate.